Hello, I'm Sally Mills from La Volta, and welcome to Digital Bullets. We put together a series of questions about issues and developments within the digital sector. We've asked some senior people and industry experts to give us their point of view. We've also given them 20 seconds to answer the questions or they get the chop. Hope you enjoy. Apart from Telstra, what do you see as the top one or two challenges currently holding back the growth of the digital media industry in Australia?
Right. Well, I think actually in today's market, clearly there's an appetite for risk which has changed, and that's going to be a great factor in innovation in the coming few years. But I also think the great issue of broadband is probably the one thing that continues to hold us back, broadband infrastructure and zero tariffing, of course.
The easy answer is that we don't have enough reliable measurement methods yet, and we don't have enough good research. So we're still finding it hard to tell good stories that persuade clients and advertisers and the broader business community to spend more in digital. The other major area is probably confidence within the population, within the consumers themselves. And while the industry spends a lot of time running around being relatively self-serving and talking about why digital services and why the internet and mobile and access to content and services is fantastic,
I don't see the Telstra actually holding the media back. I don't think that anything is holding digital media back. I think there's a lot to be proud of.
Google and Apple. There we are. Why? I think Google in part because their dominance in the market and the strength with which they play in so many spaces and their aggression, I think, is stifling some small companies who find that they can't compete with the 500-pound gorilla that's thumping everybody else there. And I'd say Apple because they build the most beautiful devices, but they're so closed in the manner that they work that they don't encourage open system. And I believe that open source and open system would encourage small developers and that we would get much more exciting development if we had a whole lot of people able to play in this space than a couple who really dominate it.
I think it's really perception of value overall, perception of value of what we provide, so clients' perception of our value, as well as resources and personnel's perception of value of themselves. I think that overall, I think that the costs are high, and what clients are paying for work is really holding back the growth of our industry.
I think the biggest single issue is commoditisation based around quant things. So on the internet at the moment, we're all obsessed with measuring things and the fact that we can measure things, and there's a real danger that we think, therefore, that everything is the same. And the way that a lot of people are selling media at the moment, it's like one big unwashed mass of media which is only valued based on CPA or CPC or something like that. I think the whole point of media is the context and the content that it gives to consumers. There's huge value in that, and I think we're in real danger of throwing that away.
And now, I assume by Telstra you mean the speed of our broadband, and I'm not sure that it's entirely Telstra's fault, though there are definitely some controversy around that. That would absolutely be the number one factor. I think when you think about digital media, though, there's a couple of other factors to consider. I mean, things like clean feed are going to be a real issue because they're going to constrain what the consumers have access to, and at the end of the day, the consumer is what is driving the evolution of our industry.
I think it's important that industry realises that we're in the middle of a twofold industrial revolution. The first is digital, which allows people to create and manipulate content more than they ever have done before. And the second is the internet, which allows the distribution of that content. I think many businesses and many major businesses have yet to realise the full impact of this on their businesses. And I think that's holding back the seismic shift that should happen.
I think you're being a bit harsh on Telstra, but look, one of the key things holding back is the absence of a plan, a cohesive plan. You can go to New Delhi now to get free wireless Wi-Fi anywhere you like, but in Sydney you've got to go to McDonald's.
Yeah, actually, I think the mobile carriers are also holding us back. I think that we have to think beyond desktop when we think digital. We have to think about handheld as well. There are certain economies, for example, in Africa, where broadband is out of the question and 3G has taken off massively and created these digital economies. So I'd say that's one of the things holding us back in Australia, and I'd say, quite frankly, the other is the government. All I have to say is two words: ISP filter.
Yeah, I think it's probably the two things that are most important would be the the knowledge base of the existing professionals with the industry. We definitely need to invest more time in that. And secondly, be the consumer market and just the evolution of how consumers interact with digital media.
I believe that the government is both a hindrance as well as a party who's actually helping grow the internet. The National Broadband Network is so important, and the government has taken a very positive approach to it. But right at the moment, we seem to be stalling, and the National Broadband Network is an important part of Australia's future, and I just hope that the government is able to see it to its full realisation.
I think just clients getting it, really. So, to have the FMCG industry, retail industry and the government not using online as an advertising medium anywhere near as much as they are television newspapers. I can't believe the government's spending $300 million a year in TV and newspapers and hardly anything online. So really those clients, those industries, realising that online is where they can spend their money and get a better return on their investment is the biggest challenge, I think, for the industry and the IAB.